I just leveled up from a serpent into a woman. Then boom, one lightning strike sent me right back to square one. Right as I was about to lose it, some guy falling off a cliff landed right on top of me. I was furious and ready to bite him dead, until I felt this intense dragon energy radiating off him. That stopped me cold. Legend says mortal emperors carry dragon energy, protected by heaven itself. Mess with their life, and karma will never let you off. But a couple bites shouldn't be that big a deal, right? The second my fangs broke his skin though, his blood was surprisingly sweet. I got greedy and helped myself to a few more sips. The more blood I took, the weaker his breathing got. Then thunder started rolling across the sky and I panicked. If this guy died, heaven would absolutely come for me. So I dragged him into a nearby cave, ran out to gather herbs, squeezed the juice out with my body, and packed it onto his wounds. But his breathing kept dropping, and I could see a hint of death creeping in. Heaven was still hurling thunder, clearly blaming me. So I gritted my teeth and transferred every last bit of my cultivation into him. Then I passed out from exhaustion, no idea how long I was out. Changyi opened his eyes to find a black snake coiled on his chest. He gave a bitter laugh. Was he seriously saved by a snake? Right then, I opened my eyes too, locking eyes with Changyi. He froze up instantly, on full alert. I hopped off him and eyed his wrist hungrily, flicking my tongue. His sharp eyes narrowed slightly. The snake looked hungry. Did it see him as food? Next second I lunged. Badly injured, Changyi couldn't dodge. He just watched helplessly as I sank my fangs into his wrist. He stiffened. The snake was drinking his blood. Looking closer, he noticed his other wrist had the same bite marks. So this snake wasn't venomous. It had just been feeding on him. What are you staring at? It's just a little blood, you don't have to make it weird. Weirdly enough, Changyi actually understood what I meant. You're not venomous? I nodded twice. How many days was I out? The question slipped out before he caught himself. Sure, the snake understood him, but that didn't mean it could answer. Just then, a glint of amusement flickered in my eyes. I traced a 4 with the tip of my tail, then coiled around and hissed twice to make my point. Better go find him something to eat. He's my blood supply after all. Changyi was completely stunned. This little snake had to be some kind of spirit. Not long after, I came back to the cave with some wild fruit and a bundle of herbs. Changyi felt a sudden lump in his throat. He was seeing genuine humanity from a little snake. And it only got more human. I curled my tail to bring the fruit right to his lips, then used my body to crush the herbs and press them onto his wounds. He waited until I finished dressing the wounds before speaking, his voice rough and low. Little snakes, you're the one who saved me? I flicked my tongue and stared at him expectantly. Come on, eat already. Under my watchful gaze, he ate the fruit. When he finished, I hissed twice and flashed my fangs. Changyi got it immediately. You want blood? I nodded. Before he could say anything, I'd already sunk my fangs into his wrist. After drinking, I felt this warm, cozy glow all over, and suddenly, very sleepy. I slowly slid up to his chest, coiled into a ball, rested my head right in the middle and dozed off. Changyi couldn't help the smirk tugging at his lips. Did this little snake just turn his chest into a bed? 2 more days passed. Changyi could finally sit up. He looked at his wounds, confused. He was healing way faster than usual. Then a hiss snapped him out of it. There at the cave entrance when I was dragging a wild chicken in. Changyi sighed. I can't eat that raw, but you can. Except the chicken was a little too big for me too, so man and snake just sat there staring at it. Never mind, I'll just eat wild fruit. No way. I nudged the chicken toward him. I'd been guarding that thing for 2 whole days. Changyi gave me a helpless look, then slowly reached out and set his hand on top of my head. I shot him a look. The nerve of this guy, patting a serpent's head like that. But he was my blood supply, so I let it slide. I nudged my head softly into his palm. Changyi felt something stir in his chest. If only I had a knife and fire. This is raw, I can't eat it. I blinked. I knew exactly where a sword was. I just wasn't sure he wouldn't turn it on me. I slowly crawled up to his chest and coiled there. In the end, that chicken went uneaten. As Changyi started moving around more on his own, I figured he could handle finding his own food, and knowing he'd leave eventually, I got back to cultivating. That evening, Changyi came back covered in blood, his own mixed with someone else's. I could smell it. The second he stepped in, I shot upright, fully on guard. He was holding a sword, walking toward me step by step. Figures. Give a guy a sword and he forgets who saved him. But then he dropped it, stumbling slightly as he came toward me, his voice low and warm. Little snake, are you scared? I stayed on guard until he got close enough for me to see he was holding a dressed wild chicken in his other hand. He set the chicken down and headed back out. Moments later, he returned with an armful of dry wood, built a fire like a pro, and got the chicken roasting. The smell hit fast. I blinked, staring at the meat wide-eyed, but Changyi's heart was heavy. Earlier, he'd spotted people out there searching for him, including some of his own former men. His gaze went dark and still, drifting over to me. Sometimes animals are more loyal than people. I sensed the shift in his energy and looked over. In the firelight, a soft smile played at his lips, his eyes warm. Hold on, it's not done yet. From that day on, I was hooked on Changyi's grilled chicken. So I left him to rest and went out hunting. Caught a pheasant and a rabbit pretty quick, but just as I was heading back, I heard a fierce fight breaking out. I bolted for the cave. My blood supply was gripping that sword, eyes sharp and cold. Surrounded by dozens of men, he stood like a rock, not a shred of fear, bodies already piling up around him. I seized my shot, whipped my body, flew up fangs first, drove my venom in. The guy was bleeding from every orifice before he even hit the ground. Watch out, venomous snake! Seeing that, Changyi finally realized this snake wasn't just venomous, it was lethal. So why hadn't it attacked him? Why had it saved him? The thought barely had time to form before he saw someone lunge at me with a sword. His pupils shrank, and his hand shot for his blade. I was lining up my next strike when I realized Changyi's hand was already wrapped around that sword. His blood, with that distinct scent, dripped onto me one drop at a time. I froze. Right then, someone came from behind. A sword drove through Changyi's back, nearly coming out the other side. I snapped out of it, my tiny eyes going cold, and flew at the attacker. My fangs sank deep into his veins. With that venom in him, he had no chance. Changyi dropped to one knee, blood pouring from his mouth. Too many enemies. Your Highness, today is the day you die. Their voices were twisted and vicious, like demons. I glared at the enemies, ready to move. These people dared to hurt him. My blood supply that I'd burned cultivation and countless days to keep alive. Another one went down. They hesitated, both sides on edge. I quietly channeled what little cultivation I had left to heal Changyi. The bleeding in his back stopped. Changyi stared at me, stunned. I slid off him and landed in the snow. Follow me. He caught on fast, and just like that, man and snake made their escape, Changyi collapsing into the cave the moment they arrived.